Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians, visiting Rotarians, guests, and honored guests. We're so glad you're here with us today. My name is Marty Stokes. I'm president of the Waterloo Downtown Rotary Club. And now, without any further ado, I'd like to bring up to the stage our president-elect par excellence, Chuck Alverson.
Thank you, President Marty. I know that both Governor Branstad and Lieutenant Governor Reynolds are familiar with Rotary and the mission and all the volunteer activities that Rotary is involved with around the world, but I thought today might be a special day to share with them one of our own Rotary stories right here in the Cedar Valley. About a year ago, when Marty was our president-elect, he asked Jennifer Brobst to come and speak to our club. Jennifer is the executive director of the Job Foundation, a non-for-profit organization that she founded right here in the Cedar Valley. Jennifer is a native of the Cedar Valley, and she talked to us about the mission of the Job Foundation. And if you recall, what she's trying to do, or what she has done, is put in place a program in the Cedar Valley for students in the Waterloo school system that come from financially disadvantaged families. And what she's trying to do is work with volunteers within the Waterloo school system, mentors, to teach these young students how to manage money so that they can break the poverty cycle that they seem to be caught up in their families. So by no means is this a quick fix. This is a long-term commitment by her and the members in her organization to try to help some of these kids understand the importance of managing their money. From that message, we as the club didn't take any official club action, but I know, just from personally what I've been involved with, I know that over the last year, members from our club, on their own, either themselves personally, through foundations that they're involved with, perhaps through their churches, have raised, in the last year alone, have raised over $30,000 for the Job Foundation. So I thought that was tremendous. I think that speaks well of who we are as Rotarians. Not only are we involved in helping through our Rotary Club in local, national, and world service organizations, but we individually, when we hear that there's a need, we step up and help. So I just wanted to be able to share that great story about our club with Governor Branstad and Lieutenant Governor Reynolds. So thank you for all your help. Today it's my privilege to introduce Governor Branstad. He will then be introducing Lieutenant Governor Reynolds. Governor Branstad left the family farm in Winnebago County in northern Iowa years ago and attended and graduated from the University of Iowa in 1969. He then served in the U.S. Army for 2 years and then continued his education after returning from the military at Drake University School of Law, where he graduated in 1974. From there, he served in the Iowa House of Representatives from 1973 to 1978. He then moved on and served as Iowa's Lieutenant Governor from 1979 to 1983. He was first elected as Iowa's Governor in 1983 as the 39th Governor of the state of Iowa. Back in 1983, he was 36 years old. Excuse me, let me get that right. When he was first elected governor in 79, he was 36 years old, Iowa's youngest governor to be elected at the time. He served in that role until 1999 and was, at that time, Iowa's longest serving term governor. Then Governor Branstad became president of Des Moines University from 2003 until 2009. Again, in 2010, was elected to and began serving as governor for the state of Iowa in 2011, now serving as Iowa's 42nd governor. So please stand and join me in welcoming Governor Branstad.
Jeff Halverson, thank you for that very nice introduction. What Jeff didn't tell you is he's got a son that's going to graduate from Des Moines University this spring in our osteopathic medical program, so I can be very proud of him. And I understand he just got married too, so doubly exciting time. It's great to be here at the 5 Sullivan's Convention Center in Dan Gable's hometown, and I want to congratulate your Rotary Club for your involvement with the Joe Foundation, encouraging financial literacy. That's so critically important for the young people of today. And also I want to congratulate Waterloo and Cedar Falls both for being Blue Zone communities as part of our effort to be the healthiest state in the nation. So congratulations. Lieutenant Governor Reynolds and I are pleased to be here today to continue a tradition of taking the condition of the state address on the road across the state of Iowa. We believe it's important to be open and accessible to the citizens of our state and present our very focused plan of action that we presented to the legislature this year. And we're in the midst of the legislative session. I'm pleased to report that in just 2 years since we took office, we've made great progress. Our state's balanced budget is built on the principles of stability and predictability. We did this by restoring proper budgeting practices and insisting on strict fiscal discipline. In fact, our state auditor, David Bout, recently was very complimentary, which is kind of unusual for a CPA, but he was very complimentary on the way the state's finances are now being managed. We have made the tough decisions. We've insisted on a 2-year budget. We've measured all tax and spending decisions through a lens of a 5-year budget projection. As a result of these tough choices, Iowa is currently in the best financial position in our state's long and proud history. We redesigned our economic development efforts, which have paid big dividends, leading to 2 of the largest private capital investments in Iowa history, with the construction of new fertilizer facilities in both Lee and Woodbury County. All total, in the 2 years since this administration took office, our efforts have landed more than $5.3 billion in capital investments in Iowa. These investments translate into jobs for thousands of Iowans and higher incomes for many Iowa families. When we took office 2 years ago, our unemployment rate was well over 6%. In the past 2 years, we've created nearly 100,000 new jobs, and our unemployment rate has dropped to 5.0%, which is the lowest it's been in 4 years. Family incomes in Iowa have grown to the 2nd highest rate in the nation at nearly 7%. Now the state that leads us is North Dakota, and they have agriculture and oil. We want to build on these successes with a focus on the future. This year we have a bold action plan that has 3 very specific goals. First is job creation and expanding opportunities for Iowa families. Second, improving our educational opportunities for Iowa's children. And third, improving the health of all of our citizens. I believe this is our opportunity because this is our Iowa. Thanks to our fiscal management, we have a surplus, and I believe we can grow Iowa's economy by returning a significant portion of the state's budget surplus to the taxpayers who made that surplus possible. We are proposing a significant plan to reform our property tax system to make it more competitive. We intend to provide nearly $400 million in direct property tax relief to Iowa's hardworking property taxpayers over the next 4 years. The principles guiding our property tax plan are simple. Permanent property tax relief, no shift of the tax burden between classes of property, and property tax reduction for all classes of property. Our plan has three significant components. First, the budget fully funds the homestead tax credit, the elderly and disabled tax credits for the fiscal year that begins July 1. This is the first time in many years that that's been done. Last year we did put $33 million more into it, and this will fully fund it, and we intend to fully fund it all years into the future. Secondly, we want to permanently change the school finance formula so that allowable growth will be replaced with 100% state aid. No longer will the school aid formula automatically trigger an increase in local property tax. Third, we will stop any future tax shifts between classes of property by tying all classes together in one combined rollback, correcting a mistake that was made in the original rollback formula implemented in the 1970s. The mistake was we tied agriculture and residential together, but we didn't address commercial and industrial. And so we saw a shift over this period of time towards, especially commercial. We did get rid of the tax on machinery and equipment for industrial, but it's been a real problem for business because they're still taxed at 100%. It's the only class of property that's treated that way. This legislation will take the current 4% cap on valuation growth for residential and agriculture property and cut it to 2% and apply it to all classes of property. This is important, and by fully funding the homestead tax credit and then putting this cap in place, we should ensure there will be no increase in residential property taxes. It left unchecked. If the legislature adjourns again this year without addressing this property tax issue, which has been on the top of our agenda for the last couple of years, the current law will allow property taxes to grow by $2 billion over the next 8 years, and half of the increase will fall on residential property. Now that is a prospect I find pretty terrifying, seeing residential taxes go up 4% every year for the next 5 years. Our plan permanently reduces commercial and industrial property taxes by 20% over the next 4 years and provides direct funding to local governments to replace that, 100% state dollars replacing the local commercial and industrial taxes, and small businesses in Iowa that have paid the highest property tax rates in the nation for far too long will see their property taxes reduced. It is critically important because many of these businesses would like to be in a position to hire new employees or increase salaries for their existing employees. We also are focused on our Skilled Iowa initiative. In fact, Lieutenant Governor and I were here in Waterloo with Teresa Whaler not too long ago, and you have many of the businesses here in the Cedar Valley area that are joining that effort to help us and to encourage more people to get the skills necessary for the jobs that are being created. Lieutenant Governor is also going to talk more about the STEM program, Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. She has co-chaired that along with Ben Allen. That's a great program, and that's where the really good jobs of the future are. We need to make sure that we have our future workforce trained in those science, technology, engineering, and math field. This program focuses on the best way to bridge the skills gap so that our employers who have articulated the fact that they do have good jobs available, but they can't find people with the right skills. And we want to bridge that gap. It is simply unacceptable to hear again and again that we do have those jobs, but we don't have the workforce that has the skills. My hope is to grow this program, working with more employers and seeking a skilled workforce while we serve more and more Iowans getting the skills. Through lower property taxes and a more highly skilled workforce, in addition to our very successful economic development efforts, we have an opportunity to further grow the Iowa economy and provide our citizens with high quality careers that they deserve. This is our opportunity. This is our Iowa. Now, I'm pleased to introduce my partner, the Lieutenant Governor. I've met my match in terms of energy, enthusiasm, and passion for service in Kim Reynolds, the Lieutenant Governor of Iowa.
It is an honor and pleasure for us to be here and talk about our agenda and what we hope to accomplish in this year with the legislative session. Since taking office, the governor and I have had as one of our top priorities restoring Iowa's leadership position in education. And in today's knowledge-based global economy, students must finish high school ready for a career or college. It's an economic and a moral imperative. Iowa is truly poised for significant economic growth, and the governor attributed to why Iowa is poised for that significant growth. But we have to ensure that we have a workforce ready to meet those needs. And education is a key component of that. And we know that we cannot continue to be complacent. Iowa 8th graders led the nation in math in 1992, and education was 37% of our state budget. Today, we ranked 25th. Not because our scores have slipped, but because other scores in other states have passed us by. And today, education is 43% of our budget. Among Iowa's high school class of 2012, who went directly into a community college, 36% had to enroll in at least one remedial class. And it's clear it's not the teachers. I want to tell you, the governor and I have had the opportunity to travel across the state and meet with school districts and teachers. My daughter teaches first grade. The governor's daughter, Allison, teaches third grades. And we absolutely know and see firsthand how hard they work to make sure that our students receive the best education possible. But unfortunately, what we're seeing is our teachers are stuck in a system that was really designed for the 20th century. And we need to work together to transform Iowa schools to the 21st century. We want to establish new roles for top teachers who will provide instructional leadership alongside principals to better meet the needs of every student. And this is why elevating teacher profession is at the very heart of our 2013 education plan. It has 3 key pieces that I'll walk through fairly quickly. The centerpiece of our plan is to revitalize Iowa schools with a new teacher leadership and compensation structure. Relying on teacher leadership is a hallmark of not only high-performing school systems around the country, but also around the world. And establishing new career paths promises to do more than just raise student achievement. It's going to offer some of our outstanding teachers new professional opportunities. Educators will be able to advance their careers in the classroom through numerous career pathways that we've established. The end result for Iowa children will be better performance in the classroom and, of course, better opportunities in their future. We're recommending state investment in this new teacher compensation model that will help keep some of our best performing teachers in the classroom throughout their entire careers. The second piece of the education reform plan is the Teach Iowa initiative, and it addresses what we see as another key problem, and that is recruiting top students to become teachers. We want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to attract the best and the brightest teachers into the teaching profession. So as a part of that, we've proposed increasing the minimum teacher pay from $28,000 a year to $35,000 a year. We also are looking at a tuition reimbursement for Iowa students who commit to teaching 5 years, and that's $4,000 each year reimbursement up to $20,000. Initially, priority will be placed on students that will, teachers that will teach in hard-to-hire subjects like math and science, but eventually we want to open that up to other majors as well. The Teach Iowa initiative also includes a pilot to expand the traditional 1 semester of student teaching to a year-long apprentice in partner schools. I think we know the governor could speak to that with Des Moines University, that stronger clinical experiences stand to, again, better prepare our teachers so when they go into what would be their first year, it's almost actually a second year of teaching because they've had a full year of clinical behind them. And the third key piece is a college or career ready skill that high school students can earn in addition to their high school diploma. The program will make it clear what it means to be college or career ready, and that will be based on real world expectations of Iowa education leaders as well as business leaders. The House version of the education reform bill, and it does include this approach, but they are calling it the Iowa Certificate of Distinction Program. The Senate version, unfortunately, does leave that out. But we believe that college and career-ready certificates would build on the governor's STEM initiative. And we're utilizing this through the Skilled Iowa initiative that the governor talked about, where we're trying to work with underemployed and unemployed individuals, taking them through the National Career Readiness Certificate Program so that they can start to see where their strengths and their weaknesses are at, and with some remediation and working with potential employers, hopefully we can get them employed and really improving their quality of life with a better paying job. And so part of that initiative also is making the NCRC available to high school students and school districts all across the state of Iowa, again at no charge. The governor mentioned the STEM Advisory Council. I am just so honored to be chairing that with, co-chairing that with University of Northern Iowa, Ben Allen. We're making significant progress. The initiative is already enhancing learning opportunities for Iowa children by putting outstanding STEM programs in more than 800 sites across the state, impacting over 40,000 students, and they have the opportunity to experience STEM like they never have before. So I cannot thank the legislature. This has been a bipartisan effort because of the appropriation that they gave this program last year of $4.7 million. We're putting those dollars in programs on the ground, impacting students all across the state of Iowa. When we can brag about Iowa having the best educated workforce anywhere, more business will locate and expand in Iowa, and we're hearing that every day as we travel across the state of Iowa. And as a result, this is going to take care of something else that we continually hear about. More of our young people are going to stay in Iowa instead of educating them and leaving Iowa because they can land great jobs that pay well and will allow them to enjoy a great quality of life. And now I'm going to invite the governor back to the podium, and he's going to talk about our last initiative, the healthiest state in the nation. Governor?
Thank you. The health and well-being of each and every Iowan is our goal. Our desire is to make Iowa the healthiest state in the nation. The obesity epidemic and onset of more and more chronic disease stretches the capacity of our medical system to meet our needs and stretches the ability of taxpayers to support programs like Medicaid. This is why we've embarked on this ambitious public-private partnership to make Iowa the healthiest state in the nation. And you're very familiar with it because these two communities, Waterloo and Cedar Falls, have been acknowledged and recognized as blue zones. There's a lot of activity going on in these communities, and we're hoping that more and more communities all across the state of Iowa will participate in this. We have an opportunity to make Iowa communities vibrant by ensuring that they have healthcare professionals as well to meet the needs of their citizens. To do this, we need healthcare professionals in communities all across the state. And unfortunately, we don't rank very well in this. Among the number of physicians per 100,000 people, Iowa ranks 46th in the nation. We're 47th in internal medicine. We're 48th in pediatrics. In psychiatry, we're 48th, and we're last in emergency medicine and OBGYN. We are home to two great medical schools, the University of Iowa and Des Moines University, where I was the president, and both do a great job. But we don't do a good enough job of keeping the students here after they graduate. Today I'm proposing 3 initiatives intended to keep Iowans healthier and also keep more physicians in our communities. First, our budget proposes $2 million to support more medical residency programs in Iowa. They graduate from the medical schools and they go off to residency outside the state. Oftentimes they get offered good jobs there and don't come back. We want them to come back, but if we can do the residencies here, there'll be more likelihood that they will have the opportunities right here at home. So our budget proposes $2 million for that. We also propose another $2 million to launch the Rural Physician Loan Repayment Program and expand it to the areas where we're in most critical need, OBGYN and emergency medicine, as well as primary care. Our third proposal is to provide a certificate of merit law and a cap on non-economic losses. Now, 25 states have certificate of merit law, and what certificate of merit requires is that you have medical experts or a panel of experts review the facts of any malpractice lawsuit that's filed to verify that the entries could have come from substandard care. This lets real claims move forward and takes the weight of bad claims off the health care and judicial systems. The condition of our state today is strong. We think if we focus on these things, quality jobs and reducing the tax burden, making our education system best in America again, and focus on becoming the healthiest state, we stand in a place in history where our state, unlike a lot of other states and the nation as a whole, is not burdened with debt and looming uncertainty, but has the opportunity for unprecedented growth and prosperity. While some states across this country are really choking the opportunities right out of their states with overtaxation and regulation, we want to focus on the things that are going to grow and make Iowa better and more prosperous and healthier. So we want to turn the page of history and write a whole new chapter in Iowa history that's going to be one that we can all be proud of. This is our opportunity. This is our opportunity. We want to make the very best of it. We appreciate the opportunity to share this vision with you. Thank you very much. We have time for some questions. Yes, sir. Doctor.
Governor Branstad, I have two questions. Number one, earlier this year you said you wanted state employees to pay 20% toward their health care costs. And yet, we're one of the 6 states in the union that the state employees pay no health care reimbursement, number one. And so I'm with you, but I'm sad that it was defeated.
Well, first of all, it's not, the final chapter hasn't been written on that.
Okay.
But let me tell you, we did get the SPOC union, which represents the peace officers, to agree to that. But if they're involved in a wellness program, then instead of paying 20%, it's a little less than that. But we're trying to encourage our state employees to get in a wellness program. Now, the ASPE union, we went to arbitration on that. The arbitrator decided against us, but we still have to address those people that are not in that, the non-covered state, the non-contract employees, and stay tuned. You'll hear more about that in the future.
Okay.
It's not over yet.
Okay, and then I'm with you with not extending Medicaid coverage in the state, but there have been a lot of editorials saying that it's not good for humanitarian reasons, or it's not good because hospital doesn't get adequate funding. What is your position and your argument?
Well, thank you for asking that question because, first of all, the Medicaid program is a federal program that started in the 1960s. Unfortunately, it's a Cadillac program, and it's kind of a freebie, but the problem is a lot of people go to the emergency room to utilize it instead of using good health practices. So what we're trying to do is we have an alternative we call the Healthy Iowa Plan, and the Healthy Iowa Plan says if you're above the poverty level, then you go into one of these new federal exchanges, and there is a subsidy to help you buy insurance. In the private sector, you have to buy it through the exchange. If you're below the poverty level, then we're putting together these accredited care organizations, which will include hospitals and providers throughout the state, working with the state to provide health coverage for those people that otherwise don't have it. So we do cover everybody. It's not the Cadillac program, and we do expect people to make a minimal $5 a month contribution towards this. But if they do health risk assessments and they're in wellness programs, the state will pick that up for them. So we think this is much more in tune with our Healthiest Iowa initiative and designed to get people involved in taking some ownership of their own health as well. It is a program where we would ask for a federal waiver, and it would be an expansion of what has been the Iowa Cares program, but it would be expanded to be offered on a statewide basis, so people would not have to travel to Iowa City or to Broadlands. We think this is a better alternative than buying into the federal program, because if you're following what's going on in Washington, you know that they have a huge federal deficit, and the big drivers are the entitlement programs like Medicaid and Medicare. Now, the problem you get into is the hospitals, when they saw Obamacare coming, they cut a deal and they agreed to a massive reduction in Medicare reimbursement. It's not, and that's a huge problem. So they are scared to death about what this is going to do. They said, oh, but you're going to pick it up with Medicaid because we're going to mandate every state has to buy into the new program. But then along came the United States Supreme Court and said, no, you can't force the states to do that. So there's a lot of states like Iowa that are looking at alternatives to doing it a different way. We're not alone in this. I can tell you there, Indiana, Wisconsin, Nebraska, many of the other states are also looking at different alternatives. And we think this makes a lot more sense. My biggest concern is when the federal government addresses their budget problem, and it's got to be sooner than later because you can't spend $1 trillion more than you're taking in every year. The big drivers are these entitlement programs and interest on the national debt. When they do, we're going to see it reduced. And if you have bought into the Medicaid program, then you have something called maintenance of effort, which says you at the state level have to pick it up where the federal government cuts back. Already this year, because we've done better in other states, we got to pick up $58 million more of the Medicaid costs at the state level that was paid by the federal government last year. So we think this is a better alternative, and I guess I'm just not, Congressman Latham was with us this morning. He was asked this question, and he said, there's no way that what the federal government has done is going to be sustainable.
That's what you would feel that our program is.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I just want to make one more point too, that they have grossly underestimated the cost of providing this program. They're already looking at exemptions. They wanted to try to pass a bill to exempt the medical devices, and that's part of the procedure that they're going to pay for Obamacare. They have grossly underestimated that, and we're going to find out what the actual cost is as we move forward. I think they originally projected it being at $900 billion, and they're looking at $7.4 trillion. So as we start to move people into the program, 30 of the states have not even set up an exchange yet. They haven't even moved to that. So, I mean, they are a long ways. There's 30 governors, Republican governors, 5 have maybe decided to expand Medicaid. By far, the majority have not.
Okay, we have time for one more question. Yes, sir.
You mentioned that 100,000 jobs we've got to take care of. Was on the Hawkeye Community College board. Volunteering there, 27 years on the electric. If we need 100,000 jobs training, probably 10,000 would be for graduates in high school. Another 10,000 for 4-year degrees. That means the majority of 80% needing training in community college.
Exactly.
Details can you give us? How are we going to support people?
Well, the Skill to Iowa program and the Iowa Job Training Program, which is handled by the community colleges, are 2 great programs that can help us do that. But you're right, a lot of the medium-skilled jobs do not require a 4-year degree, but they do require technical skills beyond high school. We need to make sure that we're making people aware. There are great job opportunities there. They pay very well, especially in the STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and math. The more we can encourage that, that's where the Lieutenant Governor and Ben Allen have played a really key role. And that program, I think, is going to do a lot, along with the community colleges doing the training to help us prepare the workforce for the future. There's one other announcement I want to make. You may be aware that on Wednesday, the Board of Parole has unanimously recommended for the commutation of Raspberry Williams. He was convicted here in Blackhawk County, and we're going to have a public hearing. The Parole Board and legal counsel from the Governor's Office will be here on Wednesday. So if anybody that you know has an interest in testifying on this, they're recommending that I commute his term, which would make him eligible for parole. And we want to give the public here in Blackhawk County, where he was convicted, an opportunity to share their viewpoint. So we're asking any of the victims or community people or people that know Mr. Raspberry Williams, and we want to know about any safety concerns, any of the victims' concerns, but we also want to know also about how Mr. Williams has changed while in incarceration and any relevant information that could be utilized in determining whether or not I should grant a commutation. I've granted only 2 commutations in the 18 years that I've been governor. It's a very important responsibility. We take it very seriously. We know we're dealing with an individual's life who's been in prison for a long time, but we're also concerned about the safety of the community. So if you know anybody that's interested in that, we have specifically focused and chosen to have that public hearing here in Blackhawk County because this is where the crime took place. So if anybody's interested, I'm sure the local media will have information on that, and that will be here on Wednesday. Thank you all very much.